Hi, everybody. This is Todd Creager. Today, I want to talk with you about post-traumatic growth after infidelity. This is a very important concept, post-traumatic growth. Many of you know that I do a lot of work with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and PTSD happens when people cannot, when they have an experience that is traumatic, meaning that they can't metabolize it. If we have a negative experience that we go through, like let's say living in Southern California, a bad day in traffic, it's bothersome, it's frustrating. But by the time I get to my destination, my brain has processed it and things move on. With trauma, though, it's a negative experience that's too much for our nervous system to metabolize, to process, to move on. So that gets we get stuck in it, and so we know that PTSD is basically a problem of time where the past comes into our present, invades our present. And we could have nightmares, or we can have hyperarousal, or we can have flashbacks, or we can avoid things that remind us anything of uh, the negative experience, right? So, for example, since I'm talking about infidelity, which can be traumatic for the person who discovers the infidelity, they may have a very difficult time trusting anybody for a while because they've been traumatized by this experience. So people know I use EMDR to help people, including betrayed people after infidelity has been discovered. But I'm not talking to you about that today. There's actually another concept, PTG, or post-traumatic growth, that I talk to clients about. I've talked to my graduate students in the classes I teach, and that we have also found that people oftentimes grow. They actually develop new brain connections and new psychological habits, or they access a part of their inner resources that they weren't able to access before uh, due to going through the trauma. Now, I'm not saying that trauma is a good thing. Nobody is. We're not saying infidelity is a good thing. I never have. But people do grow through them, and we do want to look at things in a balanced way. Definitely dealing with the PTSD aspects of trauma and crises, but also realizing that PTG, post-traumatic growth, does happen. Few examples, for example, just outside of infidelity, for example, I'll just mention it real briefly. If if you have a woman who's now a widow and her husband's died, it's been very traumatic, crisis, but now she learns how to manage some of the things that her former husband had managed. And so there's growth there, right? When we're talking about infidelity, I have discovered many, many times that couples have post traumatic growth as well as each individual. Let me start with the couple. I've worked with couples where as they've worked through the infidelity, which again I'm going to reiterate is not a good thing. It's a painful thing. But as they work through that, they find that they're closer than they ever were before the discovery of the infidelity. Their relationship is going through post-traumatic growth. They have found the courage to stay connected to each other. They're but oftentimes we live in very protective ways, and so when a discovery of an infidelity comes up, it's like the worst thing has come true. And as terrible as that is, it's like, well, I've been through the worst, so now I'm going to be more courageous. It brings up our courage. So that could be more of an individual thing that affects the relationship as well. So I have seen couples get closer. I've seen individuals get more open, more courageous. I've seen betrayed people finally said, it's not the problem, of course, was the infidelity, but was before the infidelity, I let too many things go. And I see the betrayed person now setting boundaries, uh, being more assertive, asking more for what they want because they're not going to put up with this anymore. And there's growth. Of course, when I work with couples, I'm actually not just looking for no more infidelity, no more secrets, which is important, but I am looking for the kind of growth. Communication gets more enhanced. There's more connection because those are signs I did a podcast or a talk a while back about micro-trusts to micro-trusting. There's these little things that give the betrayed person a reason to trust, and it's usually goes beyond the fact that the person who betrayed them is not doing that behavior anymore. It goes beyond it. It's, coming through, recognizing. I've seen betrayed people do that. They become better people. They say what they're going to say. They do what they say they're going to do, is what I meant to say. They do what they say they're going to do. They're more communicative. They grow up. They learn how to regulate their emotions in more mature ways. Again, back to the betrayed person, not only are they more assertive and more expressive, oftentimes it might wake up their libido, their sexuality, their even beyond that, they're recognizing, wow, things can happen. I don't want to waste another day, so they live more fully. So I could go on and on about what I've seen with this post-traumatic growth with couples and even each partner after infidelity. I've seen the betrayed person actually grow up to the point where not only are they being better spouses, but they're being better parents, maybe even better friends, because maybe they realize that, wow, I've been egocentric, self-centered for a long time, which partially led to me acting out. And if I want to have my partner, I need to grow up. So it's there. It's there. And as I'm speaking, you might be thinking of things I didn't say. That, well, yeah, if I've been through this, or maybe you know someone or a couple that's been through that, you go, yeah, they improved in that area. Or this one person improved in this area. Even if the couple didn't make it, even if they broke up, that the person who was betrayed or even the person who did the betrayal both improved in some ways, woke up a different part of who they are. I've seen couples become more playful with each other, not take each other for granted. So there's more vulnerability. So in all this, I just want to say that, I've said this before in other podcasts and other videos, other talks, that in Chinese, the word for crisis is made up of two characters. And the one character by its own, one of the characters, means danger. And we know when we go through crisis or trauma, there's a danger feeling to it. Things are out of order. There's a chaotic feeling inside. Maybe there's chaos outside, in our community, in our family, whatever. The other second character of this two-character phrase for crisis in Chinese means opportunity. So while there's danger, it's side by side with opportunity. And there is an opportunity there to reorganize, to reconnect, and to connect with each other, to connect with different parts of ourselves. And neurobiologically speaking, you could even have neurons connecting in your brain in more enriching ways. So in betrayal and pain, there's oftentimes a silver lining, and that's what this is about, post-traumatic growth. Hope you found this useful. This is Todd Creager, making the world safe for love.